We will be joined in the studio by Kukuletu Nkuta. She's already here in our studio. Now I guess remember to join us on 0117323005 later on. And this is Sikulumanga and of course Nugutige Inwati Aibadile, everything Uzobeke Uzusnigas, the whole information about herself and of course iPadele, music and everything. So to stay tuned to EKFM 103.6, your connection, your voice. Self-published African author Ukuku Nkuta is here in our studio. Greetings and welcome to EKFM Talk.
Sapina, thank you so much for having me and to the listeners and everyone out there.
Great. And yeah, who is Kuku Nkuta and where were you born?
You won't believe I was born in Moose Springs, but I grew up just around the corner, Eroka. It's a gun. 8883. And Fundele Litsie.
Yes.
Just Momo Litsie, and then immediately I go JE. I think yes. And then I went to Gelexdal, and then after Gelexdal, I think Gelexdal I stayed for a year. That was in 1993. And as soon as they opened up 94 to say, look, everyone is welcome to these multiracial schools, my mother took me to Go Springs Girls High, and that's where I finished my school, high school years, and I went to Natal Technikon to study.
Good.
But more than anything, I'm still bred and living and breathing East Rand. Now, before Nizanala, I had to go past home. So this is my hood, and Ukoko is a child of God who loves God so much, loves his word and loves his people. And yeah, an author is what I am, but I'm also in corporate. I'm also a mother, I'm also a wife. I'm all things that God has bestowed on me. And
Bladidi Sasakonage on EKFM 103.6, your connection, your voice in our studio. We are in conversation with our own Kukuletu Nkuta. Tomige, you've got some questions to ask. You want to comment? Let's hear from you. 0117323005. It is 15 minutes after the hour 7 o'clock. So, Kuku, I'm told that you are a true activist of God. Tell us more about your activism for the Almighty.
So I'm an activism for all things that are true, but obviously God as the leading. So I always say, sometimes I always say, is it just God only? But anything that has justice to it. So wherever, there's injustice, whether young people, and also for truth, because we live in a time where there is so much clutter out there. There's so many voices. There's so many things that are being said and without being proven. So activism for me is something that I grew up with. And I think Nkulengayo, from the fact of which, as you grow up as a young female being black, growing up in an impoverished, townships where we thought we would never see the daylight, of prosperity of anything. I mean, in those days, we didn't even have Ikondir. So you couldn't even dream afar. But the activism was also understanding what is it that I'm called to do. So where I come from and where I grew up does not define where I'm going. So wherever I see injustice of any form, my heart, it boils, and it boils to bring a solution as opposed to the problem at the time. So I'm an activism of God as well. I'm also an ordained evangelist, so I pastor as well. But more than anything, I teach. It's a simple teaching and activism of that. Yes.
And I'm interested. Back in the days, can you tell us how old are you? Because you earlier on even spoke about EJE Madepe, Isase Lapanage Elitsi, and those were my days. So and I thought you were born yesterday.
I look like I was born. I'm 37. Proudly. I just turned 37. And how old are you?
No, you're still young.
When I'm 40,
40, I'm just...
You're very young.
About 50 is just around the corner, yes.
Yeah, so 19, I mean, Boma 90s, 80s, I mean, I was born in 81.
Yes.
So, I mean, 93, which is when I went to high school. In those times, I mean, our freedom, we haven't even got to the South Africa. So, yes, in those times.
Sifunde under apartheid.
Sifunde apartheid, where, you know what, I think it taught us a lot of things. It taught us to stand fast, to be steadfast in everything, and to also begazel. But more than anything, I think it taught us to be very tough. And I think the generation of then, there's still that new, the Mandela generation, but there's toughness in us, and we understand exactly where we're coming from. And I embrace that. I mean, growing up as I am, whether some can say successful or not, I'd never forget my roots, places that made me, and Springs and Guatemala.
So you're no longer around?
I'm no longer around. You say Renbeck Muklal.
Yes.
But I'm very much active. I mean, every second other week I'm
But
here.
do you tell them that you're coming from Etsakane in the city of Ekurhuleni?
Proudly so.
Because some of us must sing a city, but we are making it. I was born, bred, and buttered in Soweto. Because Etsakane, maybe I don't know.
You know what? I've never understood Leo concept, and I mean, I get asked a lot of times to say, we have to. I mean, I always say no one loves Springs and Guatemala and Etsakane. I don't think even people are supposed to love the way I love Etsakane and Guatemala. And there are so many people. Ababuyalai is trend. There are so many singers. There's so many actors. There's so many writers. There's so many people. I just think we just need to speak more and more of how much of the people we've bred and took to other places, without being shamefully so.
Lalele usasekhona-ke on EKFM 103.6, your connection, your voice. We are in conversation with Gugulethu Nkutha, our own sister khona ngapha-ke in the East Rand in Tsakane to be exact. You want to talk to her? Let's hear from you. 011732 3005. It is 21 minutes after the hour 7 o'clock. 103.6, your connection, your voice, live from the city of Ekurhuleni. EKFM Talk. Gugulethu Nkutha is here in our studio. You want to talk to her? Let's hear from you. 011732 3005. So let us talk about your writing skills and the God-given music talent.
Sure. So writing, I always say, wake me up at 2. And I'll give you a note.
Yes.
Ask me to write a book or a strategy or anything. Give me 2 hours.
Yes.
So umculi, I think it's something that I've always loved from a young age, and I mean from melodies of growing up, music. In those days, Bob Brooke Benton, Miriam Makeba, from the Manhattans, and the spectrum is broad. And I grew up in a house where music was all that we lived for. Just the other day, Makshona Aretha Franklin, I could identify because I remember, mornings and Sundays, those we used to do, So, and then the writing itself, it started, I think, being crafted kakulu, as when I started, I always say when I started putting together my sentences, because to write, especially Singisi or any other language, you have to be able to construct, sentences. And for me, before I even started knowing how to write, I loved reading. And I think that's something I will always want to say to people, to say, you cannot be a lover of writing if you don't write. You don't love books. And especially loving books of other people. So you're supposed to be someone that reads others, that researches, so that you can find your craft. For me, it was always storytelling, story writing, even books that I'm still attracted to today, over and above business. It's stories. So at the age of 17, that's when I started to, get short stories, writing. But always, Mike, I would put them aside because I think we grow up as Abantabantundu being told, I'm a lawyer, I'm a teacher. Being a writer and being a musician, I mean, how many times do you get told, the musicians, they die poor? What do they amount to unless you went in exile those days? But then those for me are two twins. And how I use the two for me now is that the two are actually not so much the singing and the writing. I enjoy the process of writing the music. By the time we refita the keys, the arrangements, I've already done my part, which I love, which is writing. And even no music to this day, it doesn't matter. I might be listening to a nice groove, even as plain as simple as a quiet one-liner. The line and the depth of, they always say it's not how long you pray, but it's the depth of how deep you go. You can say, Lord, Kyakopa, you know, and that's enough, as opposed to someone who just goes on and on. So even for me, when I listen to music, I listen with that. And writing, then I started writing, but the journey of this book that we're here to talk about started in 2011.
Okay.
And that's how long it's been. I've written ezinye incwadi in between, but this one was the one that took me a while, because I think Beimeli's cat, even God was just allowing me to travel places, so that when I wrote it, I could bring in all the places that I traveled. So I write like you know, you should see scrapbooks wherever, you know, and I strongly believe, for Mina, because of the Bible that says write the vision down, Habakkuk, so that anyone who finds it may be able to follow. And in Nwati, they're that powerful that even once you're gone, they speak for you. So I've just been so excited and blessed to have the opportunity to be an author today. It wasn't an easy journey, definitely.
Lalele usasekhona ke on EKFM 103.6, your connection, your voice, 25 minutes, or should I say 26 minutes after the hour 7 o'clock. Sizokhuluma ngayo ke incwadi shortly after our headlines. Kodwa ke I just want you to talk to us about angazi ukuthi ngayibeka kanjani ke ukuthi in ukubhala, like it's in writing, because without sounding otherwise, thina ke sesithanda ukuthi, or I think it's still even the case right now, to ukuthi ke ukufunda like incwadi, you know, kasi ufunda incwadi ezingaka, like yabona this thing. So besinayo this thing ukuthi man mawufunda, it's like sithi sometimes uyabhora,
uzenza uprofessor,
mawuhlangana uzomthola uhleli uyafunda, those are belong this.
Yes. And you know, I think those types of inkulumo zisitshontshelwe kakhulu, because you look at where we are today, and you know, ezinye inkinga sibhekane nazo, especially thina abantu abantsundu. You could trace it back to that, because a lot of things in the world, for you to adapt and to be know-how, you need to have knowledge. Exactly. When you don't know, you get pulled to all different directions. How many of our young people today, and if only this person knew. And there's no such a thing as that if you want to hide anything from a black person, do what? Put it in the book.
Yes.
It's because of the systems that we used to come from apartheid. They knew that if we don't read about our history, I mean, manje Sunday celebrate heritage.
Yes.
It's around identity. Who are we? Where do we come from? Who will tell those stories if abantu abadala basekho, versus if it's put in a book? You could say, you know what, let's go to the library. I mean, even today, you know, there's an awareness to say we need to start using the libraries that we have, because everyone is on their phones now. And that's a discipline that comes with Mauya a library. And I think the status quo has to change, and we need more black writers so that we could have people we can associate with. I don't blame abantu abaningi, because if it's books that were imposed on us because of the colonization, or maybe it's a wide history from British, UK, it's got nothing to do with me, as opposed if ngifunda ngoshaga or kibalakaba pedi. If I read about someone, then what? You know, so I think we have to embrace, it's just that for young people to be crafted, nalaba bazayo, if they cannot, I mean, today abantu abasha sebayathola ukuthi they gifted in music. Why not? Let's go into writing as well. Do workshops, teach them how to write short stories into a book, and so and so and so.
So how do you go about writing a book? Like, where do you start? A young person is listening right now, and we are saying, I want to be like Ugugu, but in your
Sure, for me now, you've just asked me, for me it's very different, and I would never expect anyone to go through the journey. For me now, it started, Mike, when I sound crazy, but sometimes I would see and I would hear voices, or my mind would go to places I've never been. And I said, I look travel, and that's when I started seeing it. Oh, okay, Lenda in my mind.
Good.
But for someone who says, how do I start? I always say, find that one thing that you're passionate about, to talk about.
Yes.
You know, and we write from different places. I might write from doing stories, like I'm a characters. Omunye umuntu uthanda around art, omunye uthanda music, omunye uthanda the black history.
Yes.
So you research on that, and you find that one idea.
Yes.
And then you run with that one idea, and then that's it for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sasakhona ke kumsakazo wakho hamba phambili 103.6, your connection, your voice. It is exactly 7:20, or should I say 7:30, and Zamambo Ojane is ready to give us 117323005. Yeah. You can also WhatsApp us on 081-728-4395, 081-728-4395. So, Gugu, let's talk about the book.
The book is called The Things She Remembered. NgesiZulu bare lokho akukhumbula kaSesotho dintho tse a na di hopola.
Yes.
Ngesivenda angisazi ke.
Yes.
So it's a novel fiction based. So I've taken stories from real life issues, real life not related to me, but things. So njengombhali mina, I write from outside in. Abanye abantu ke but they write from inside out, from their personal experiences.
Oh yes.
But kakhulu mina, what influences me is seeing joys, troubles, challenges, and I take those and I put them into characters. So it's a book that looks at a umdlali, a main character. Estelle, she goes through her first trial. She experiences ukubona umngani wakhe committed suicide. And for me, I remember the first time the experience of suicide was of a young boy. I was still early. I think around 12. As a young boy, sidlala nje, nicely la Zedamari Park. And he was from a loving family, and within a week, some tola la enough coke, as him. That was years ago. But suicide, you look at, sometimes we don't want to talk about the reasoning for that, and it just iba into eshiwa yonje, and we look at suicide today as one of the biggest challenges we've got between abantwana abana 10 and 24, which means it's our youth. And Kakulu also, then she goes through that process, but ekhuleni kwakhe, she also goes through a process of being raped by someone that she knows. And in that, there's a secret that ehlala phakathi kwakhe nosisi wakhe, ngoba she goes through an abortion through that person umdlengulile. So what is the moral of the story is that ziningi izinto esingabantu esidlula kuzo. Ezinye, it's not even ngokhetha kwethu, but it's things that get done to us. And it's important ukuthi after things that have been done to you now usudlulile, what are the choices that you make to continue empilweni? So you see her really fighting through that, and she's trying to find herself in that. But there's an incident which abafundi masebayifundi incwadi, they'll get to see that she goes through a process that one thing happens and then she forgets. But immoral is to say, njengabantu khona ubuhlungu esidlula kubo, Mike, that is so deep and cut that we put filters. Ngena kwami la EKFM, we all have filters. Ungangibuka ngenye indlela ungijudge nami the same until you get to know a person. So I'm trying to speak of those challenges, and in the characters ngifuna umfundi azithole ukuthi ubani. You can, if not you, at least for someone else.
Yes.
But istory masphela is that it faces self-forgiveness and self-restoration, ukuzakha, and to forgive yourself, ukuzixolela.
Yes.
Because ekutheni, even if you can uba umuntu ohlangana noNkulunkulu, you will never experience ubukhulu and the forgiveness of God until you have forgiven. And we live in a society, nemiphakathi, where people are caring so much. We look at the increase of abuse, domestic violence, is because all these things that abantu bazifihlile. But then thina laba asizwayo, where people are crying, our ears are supposed to be louder. It's like someone or committed suicide, we never say kodwa ungitshelile, we try and replay kodwa washo wayenza lo, but we never listened. We never had the ears that were so clear to say this person actually was sick. So ekutheni lokho ukuthi there are decisions ezidlula kuzo singabantu. Once a decision has been made, isidlulile, be accountable and take responsibility for it. And the story, when I say this, khona into ezenziwa kithina, I'm not talking about decisions that you have made as umuntu knowingly. Bakhuze khona, don't go there. I'm talking about things that due to life's work, and it just throws spans at you. So incwadi yilokho, it's called The Things She Remembered. It's a beautiful book. It can be enjoyed by a family. It can be enjoyed by abo mama besilisa abathanda ukufunda, young, old, and it cuts across all racial backgrounds.
Yes.
Even people locally, internationally, and it's a beautiful story even for those abathanda ukufunda. It's a nice, easy read because I wrote it that way. It's not technical, so I love it so much.
Itholakala kuphi?
Incwadi ke isikhona, it's available in stores, so you could look at shops as fine nabo P&A nabo Books. If it's not there, please ask them to order from R&A distribution.
Good.
So kwenzakala ukuthi sometimes ufika ngoba bathola incwadi eningi. And then also it's available, we deliver personally.
Yes.
I try and deliver locally because it gives a chance to meet the different people. You know, every time ngihlangana nabantu, they're like bengikulalele EKFM, bengikulalele so
yes.
You hit a spot. And it gives me time to counsel if I can, you know, to not just to deliver incwadi, but I get to meet the person. It's also available mawuthanda ke ukufunda kuma gadgets wakho, ama tablets nine. It's on Kindle, it's on Amazon, and it's a deliver as said at Joburg for free. Outside of Joburg, definitely there's a courier fee.
Good. Lalele usasekhona ke on EKFM 103.6, your connection, your voice. So Gugu, shall we listen to?
Yeah. Sure, I'm excited. So Lelengomale, it's a twin to the book, and for me, Mike, it was important to, you know, you've always heard of soundtracks to movies. You know, you've always heard of a soundtrack to something, but you've never heard of a soundtrack to a book. So in my case, I wanted to lead with that. I wanted to have a differentiator, but also because I enjoy writing. And guess what? I was like, why not? Why don't I write something? So the song is co-written with a beautiful co-writer, she's a cousin of mine. And I said to her, Nanas, go deep.
Wow.
Okay, let's get a song where it can talk to anyone across all boundaries. It's an English song, but we are busy also doing it in Sisulu. So I hope they enjoy it.
Shall we listen to it?
Definitely.
Great.
Mesmerized.
Sure. Yo. Yankisa somewhere. But yeah, tell us about this song again. Yo.
The song is titled One Fight. And it's self-explanatory. You know, there comes a moment, I've been there. I don't want to, now I think I'm not talking about someone else, where you just felt that I'm done, you know, until you reach in. And the song is about reaching in, phakathi kwakho, where there is power that lies. And there is power in all of us. You know, I always say there is a line there. Every time I listen to it, it blows my mind. It says, I never knew that God knew my name. Because mawubheka izinto ezikwehlelayo mawumuntu ubheka la ukhulele khona ubheka la ubuya khona and you sometimes think, but why me? Does even God remember me? Google 7 billion people. Guess what? By the number of your hairs. So the song, it's exactly what, this is the journey I'm looking for. You know that feeling you've just said?
Yeah.
Wow, it took, I don't want someone to say, no, wait, I wanted to take you to that place you've never been. Because even me writing the book, it took me to places I've never been. Or places that were there, but I was avoiding to face and to re-look at. So it's simply in that. It's mellow. It was produced, co-produced by a very known, I think he's the greatest producer, Uxoli Tabete. Uxoli udlalela boThandiswa. He's played for Babu Soli Mahlangu, Benjamin Dube. And then on acoustic, we've got a young guy. I didn't meet him, but it was done over, you know, in studio. Divine, he plays the acoustic and the drums, and it was just live. And we took time, Mike, the song literally took us, I remember, over 2 months just for us to get it. You know, and it wasn't to say we want to sound like anyone else. We didn't want to copy. It was not for me to sound like the next so and so. I didn't want to copy anyone. I just wanted to be genuine. But we wanted ingoma ezohlala on all stations. whether it's 12 o'clock or 6 a.m.
Yes.
And yeah, it's exactly that. So when you listen to the song, I hope people receive it the way it touched us, our spirit. It's to connect with that, to say you've got one fight, it's not over. Continue. Be down on your knees and pray. Please. Guess what? Only God will listen to you, even in the deepest of the deepest.
Laleli usasekhona ke on EKFM 103.6, your connection, your voice. Gugulethu Nkuta is here in our studio. You wanna talk to her? Let's hear from you. 011732 3005. You can also WhatsApp us on 081 728 4395. Speaking of WhatsApp, Yaz says Gogo, she's speaking to myself. She reveals my real emotionally, spiritually. Her book sounds religiously and informative, builds the inner being. God bless her writing and singing journey. That's a message from Mutusi in Brakpan.
Sure, thank you, Mutusi. And yeah, it's exactly that, because you know, there's one thing that makes us common. It's our spirit. And then followed by the blood that flows through us. And that's exactly how I want to connect. I might not meet everyone that will read this book. Some people I'll never probably get to meet. But if they have that spiritual encounter in finding some type of healing, in finding a way to continue, in finding one fight, in finding forgiveness, in finding restoration, in finding to love themselves without condemning, I think I would have done that what God said I must do through this book. It was not a nice story to pair it up, top seller, whatever. It's good, those accolades are good. But it's always for one person, one soul at a time, I always say. One brick, one soul. Just like this person who's saying, you've touched my emotion. You know, it's healing. It's healing that we need at this point in time.
Yeah. On EKFM 103.6, your connection, your voice. You can call us on 011732 3005. You can also WhatsApp us on 081 728 4395. So the song itself or the music,
so music ilona definitely uteng go iTunes, uteng go Google Play, on all digital platforms. But because it's EP, so what I did, Mike, I did a 4-piece, so it's not a full album. There's 4 songs in the EP, and for me it was very simple. I had a lot of songs. I mean, Kingwete, just like the book. But I didn't want to be all over the place because an album is a huge stretch. You know, when you do 10, 6, you know, to 12 songs, it's a big stretch, and it never means that, you know, you have to deliver big the first time. So I wanted a sweetener of 4 quartet so that I can focus on it. Also, I can pace myself to grow. Yes. Because I'm in this because I want to grow. So the music is available, but because it's an EP, you will not find it, let's say, at a Musica and so, because I bank the EP, but it's paired up with the song. So if you wanted the CD as well, you wanted it can get delivered to you. It's got beautiful songs. One is called Open Heaven, another one is called Risen King, another one is called Mayenziwe in Dando Yako. Gospel songs with the up-tempo, contemporary, you know, the Reason song, I love it. It's got that samba, you know, Caribbean feel to it.
And let's talk about the book. I did so with the hangata about the book, and if you have already, you know, so we I think what is it that you wanted to achieve with this book?
Sure, I wanted to achieve, I think it's split into 2. Personally, for myself, what did I think maybe to ask it is what did I want to achieve for myself? For myself it was a proof that I'm a finisher of what I started. Anyone who writes books, they know how difficult it is. And for now, because last year I went through a journey of being sick for a period of 12 months. So when I wrote the book, it was a matter of conquering and being victorious over my weaknesses and my fears. And also for me personally was to learn from it, because when I wrote it, there was a learning experience, the healing. And then for someone else who's reading, definitely they must take away the fun story, because I look at, someone might say, yo, it sounds sad, it sounds painful. Trust me when I say, when you start reading, there are certain places where you will laugh, because the girl has got friends, unali parents, so there's some humor in it. So when they take away, they must take away their own interpretation. I think, you know, just like the Bible, when we read the same verse, but the revelation is different. And I think with everyone, it won't be the same at all. But the one thing that definitely they must take away is the tapping into their emotions, for sure.
Lalele usasekhona ke on EKFM 103.6, your connection, your voice. Ngibheke lapha ke umlaleli athi ke kwathuleka ke emsakazweni omsazazi kubantu ke bakwaDuza ke nge-extension 22 bathi kuyamosheka. Will sizayilungisa ke leyo ndaba ke, will make some follow ups on that. Kuleyo ndaba ke sithanda ukubonga kakhulu ke for ukuthi usazise ke ukuthi ke kwenzakalani ke in extension 22. Kodwa ke okwamanje sisakhulumisana naye ke ku le 2 nkutha, kambe ke you wanna talk to her. Let's hear from you. 011732 3005. It is exactly 7 minutes before the hour 8 o'clock. And kuku ungathini to a young girl ofuna ukufana nawe, but under ungathini like is from poor backgrounds, yes, ngiyezwa uyangikhuthaza, but I mean mina I'm parentless, mina angina 1 2 3, I'm giving up. I wanted ukuthi nami ngibe right, but due to the circumstances,
Sure.
like I'm on the verge of giving up.
Yes.
So, yeah.
What do they do? You know, I look at, and it's something that I never speak about, because I don't want people to feel sorry, but I grew up without my father, you know, and he was taken away from me at a young age of 3. You know, some people lose their parents, sebabazi, you know, in their teenage years, sebabadala. And, you know, I always tell people I don't know what a hug of a father feels like, because I've never had. And in Kule no Gogo, as I've said, it's a Gane. You know, my mother used to work, go Woolworths, you know, and she would come weekends. And I look at, you know, even growing up, I started doing things for myself from a young age of 5. You know, why? Because I grew up in a house where my own grandmother was an alcoholic, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. That's how she passed on, you know, from liver failure and the abuse that I saw around me. So what am I trying to say is that for every one of us, to each one there's a different challenge. And I always tell people that never underestimate by the looks zomuntu ngaphandle, because nalo muntu ombuka ungazuthi ucebile, you know, they've got it all together. You'd be surprised at how much pain cuts across all of us. So back to your question, to say for that young person, and it's not just for that young lady, even for Abafana, I think sometimes we leave the guys outside and our young boys, and we need to encourage the latter, both. So for all the young people that are out there, firstly, it is important to go to school, whether it's public or afforded or not. It helps. Education still is a breakthrough that sets you apart. For someone who says, but I don't have the means, we have to get to a point where, Mike, we help our young people to tap into their gifts. A gift is something that you never have to work hard for. You'll never work a day in your life, because you do it so much with love and with the zeal, and it comes naturally. So for those young people who are at a state of giving up, my answer is very simple: don't. Because usaphila, you're still breathing the same air that anyone else breathes. But what will set you apart? Goal setting is very important. Exposing yourself to what is outside of you is very important. Choosing even the crowd that you move around, because there's nothing worse than if you're a situation of uyahlupheka unabazali. On top of that, you still add on wrong relationships, trying to find a closure. So also I do a lot of, you know, I'll give out my email at the end of the day, you know, because I do a lot of outreach, helping young people. I do mentoring and coaching, but sometimes obviously I can't take everyone. But if you are out there you are saying you sound like you are me in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying you are right, because Nami, there was someone I looked at 37 years and I thought I was them. So to give you that chance of saying, how did I do it? Definitely, I'll be happy to share that. So I'll give out those details at the end. But the answer is simply that. Don't. And find people who are far beyond than you. Like ourselves, we are here. And I think, you know, you've said it before that Abandaba Puma is strength. They must come back and say, we're from here.
Yes.
So whether we're Takane, Eduduza, we're Watema, even to you, arise and shine, because the light of the Lord is definitely upon you.
Okay.
So it's that.
And we're only left with 3 minutes. Just share
How?
your... Yes, time flies.
It works flies.
Yes, can you share, or maybe before you share your contact details, anything that you want to say to Umlaleli Kaya? Muntu omdala, umuntu omusha?
So I want to encourage even, you know, abantu abadala. You know, I look at myself now, ngiyasebenza, ngumzali, ngishadile. And, you know, sometimes as people, we pass on without feeling as if we fulfilled everything. Bakhona abantu abadala out there who are feeling as if abasana chance anymore. It's like, sengimdala, ngayiqala ibhizinisi, ngaqala ngibhale. I'm doing it at the age of 37. No one ever said that you must start writing at the age of 15 and so. It took me since 2011, but it's done. So for those abantu abadala, I want to know gogo lapho bangaphandle to say, but sengugogo ngayenzani kukhona lokho nawo ngakwenza. For young people, is saying that the time is now. Young people, you have exposure, and the most powerful thing that you have is that gadget called a cell phone. But it's a matter of what you use it for. You can use it to empower you. You can use it to give you a step ahead. You can do it for research, or you can just use data for nothing. And also to encourage families out there who are going through things like abuse. You know, a daughter that has gone through abortion. Because I'm also called into building families. That is the book.
Good.
So it's to encourage across the spectrum. Abesilisa, abesifazane, families, and families of all kinds. Single parenting, both parents, and otherwise, and divorcees. So this is definitely to encourage everyone that is out there. And through that song is simply that. Yeah. And
in closing, your contact details.
My contact details, the website, they can find me on guguletunkota.com. So there you will see and get to, and then the email is called, no, not that it's called, the email is connect@guguletunkota.com, and all my social media platforms, from Twitter, from Facebook, from Insta, Guguletunkota. That's where they'll get me. And yeah, I do respond within 24 hours.
Oh, you respond within?
Yes, I do, and I manage my own platforms. So you're not talking to somebody through somebody.
Yes.
You'll be talking to me.
Yes, and Timotusi says from 7 o'clock to the last hour, I'm so spiritually and emotionally lifted above the rest. Rise and shine, words touched me more.
Sure, I'm so, I'm in awe, because that's what matters the most, to hear people saying that. I don't want to hear the other fluffy stuff, but it's exactly that encourages me.
Guguletu Nkota, thank you so much, my sister, and all the best. We hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you to you and the listeners. It's been wonderful. This is also in German.
Yes, Mlaleli, that's how we come to the end of today's edition of EKFM Talk. Thanks a lot to my sister Guguletu Nkota. Sibonge kakhulu for raising the flag yala ekuleni kakhulu eKwaZulu. Thank you so much from me. Mathakathe sizawuphinde ke sibonane ke futhi kusasa ngo-6 o'clock. Zamambo Ochani ngezindaba ke, and after on sports is forward to the Panake or Coach Potile Jack. From me, Mike Matabate. Have a great evening. Ciao, ciao.